The chicken leg incident was a quiet summer afternoon. The sky was clear, the birds were singing, and John was sitting in his backyard, enjoying a hot chicken leg fresh off the grill. He loved peaceful moments like this, no noise, no people. Just him and his food. As he took a big bite of the chicken, something moved near the bushes behind his shed. He stopped chewing. At first, he thought it was a squirrel. Then, he saw the glowing eyes staring at him from the shadows. John froze. He blinked. The eyes didn't move. Slowly, he put the chicken leg down on his plate and leaned forward. "Hello," he said, unsure if he was talking to an animal or just losing his mind. The bushes rustled again, and out stepped the strangest creature he had ever seen. It was small, maybe 3 feet tall, with smooth gray-blue skin. Its arms were long, its fingers thin. Its head was big, with no hair and large black eyes. It looked like something from a science fiction movie, but this wasn't a movie. This thing was real. John stood up so fast his chair fell backward. The creature jumped too, holding its hands up in fear. Then, in a shaky, high-pitched voice, the creature said, "Please, don't eat me." John's mouth fell open. "What?" "I saw," the creature said, pointing at the chicken leg. "You were eating a body part. I thought I was next." John didn't know whether to laugh or run. This is chicken. It's food. I'm not a monster." The creature tilted its head. "So, you don't eat other creatures like me?" John walked slowly toward the plate and held up the chicken leg. "This is from a bird. We cook and eat birds, not aliens. Not whatever you are." The creature looked at the chicken, then back at John. It seemed confused. "But your species is known to eat anything. I studied your internet. I saw pictures." John couldn't help but laugh this time. "Yeah, the internet can be weird, but I'm not going to eat you, okay? Just calm down." The creature sighed in relief and slowly sat on the grass. "My name is Zarnik. I did not mean to scare you. I crashed here last night. I've been hiding." John sat down too, keeping a little distance. "I'm John, and welcome to Earth, I guess." They sat in silence for a moment. Birds chirped again. The wind moved gently through the trees. John looked at Zarnik. "So, why were you watching me eat?" Zarnik scratched his head. "I was hungry. I haven't eaten since I landed. But when I saw you bite that leg, I got scared." John felt a little sorry for him. He picked up the second chicken leg from his plate and held it out. "Want to try?" Zarnik stared at it, then slowly took it with both hands. He sniffed it, then licked it, and finally took a tiny bite. His eyes went wide. It's delicious. Told you." John smiled. Suddenly, there was a sharp beeping sound. Zarnik jumped and looked at a small device on his wrist. The screen flashed red. "What's that?" John asked. Zarnik stood up fast. "They're close. I have to go." "Who's close?" "The ones who followed me. They're not like me. They're hunters. If they find me, they'll destroy everything." John stood up too. "Wait, what do you mean destroy?" "Destroy what?" "You," Zarnik said, looking at him seriously. "Your home, your world. They believe humans are dangerous. They don't understand kindness. They don't understand sharing food." A cold feeling ran down John's spine. "We have to hide," Zarnik said. "Please, I don't want to see you eaten either." Before John could reply, a strange humming noise filled the air. It sounded like a low engine, but deeper, more alive. It was coming from the sky. They both looked up. A silver dot was moving across the clouds, fast and silent. Zarnik pulled on John's arm. "Inside, now." John grabbed his plate. He wasn't leaving good chicken behind and ran with the alien into the house. The door slammed shut. The story was just beginning. Zarnik's secret inside the house. John locked the door and pulled the curtains shut. He didn't really know why. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was fear. Or maybe it was because the alien standing in his living room looked absolutely terrified. Zarnik's large eyes scanned every corner of the room. He didn't relax until he checked the window and pressed a button on his wrist. The device made a quiet pulse. He nodded to himself. "They didn't see me coming," he whispered. John, still holding his now cold chicken plate, sat down on the couch. "Okay, Zarnik, what's going on?" "Who are they?" Zarnik turned toward him slowly. His voice was low and serious. "My people, or the ones who think they own my people, aliens?" John asked. "Yes, but not all of them are the same. Some, like me, are explorers, scientists, peaceful. We study the universe. But others, they are not like that. They believe in control, in fear. They believe every new species must be tested, judged, and if they are found dangerous, he paused. They destroy them. John swallowed hard. So, they think. Humans are dangerous? Zarnik nodded. They've been watching Earth for years, collecting data. Your wars, your weapons, your history. They don't see your music, your kindness, your jokes. They only see what they want to see. He sat down, across from John, and looked him in the eyes. They sent me as part of a secret mission. We were supposed to observe quietly, no contact, but when I came closer, I saw something that changed my mind. John leaned in. What did you see? Zarnik smiled faintly. A child helping an injured dog. An old woman feeding birds every morning. A man singing to himself while sweeping the street. Things my people would call useless. But I felt something. I felt connection. Like there's something beautiful hiding inside your chaos. John blinked. That's why you ran. Zarnik nodded. Yes, I left the ship. They tried to stop me. I crashed near your forest last night, and now they're searching. Suddenly, the lights in the house flickered. Zarnik looked up. They're using power scans to locate heat, signals, anything strange. John stood up. So, they might find us. Yes, but not yet. I put up a field around the house. It won't last long. John paced the room. His heart pounded. So what do we do? Zarnik was quiet for a moment. Then he reached into a pouch on his side and pulled out a small silver cube. He placed it on the table. It opened like a flower, and a blue light came out, forming a 3D image. John stepped closer. The image showed a huge spaceship floating above Earth. It was invisible, hidden behind a field of clouds and signals. Inside were long corridors, bright machines, and hundreds of creatures that looked like Zarnik but taller, stronger, and colder. This is the flagship, Zarnik said. If they decide humans are a threat, this ship will be the one to strike first. They won't ask questions. They won't give warnings. John stared at the hologram, then at Zarnik. So how do we stop them? Zarnik's eyes glimmered with emotion. I don't know. But I believe if I can show them real human life, the good parts, they might change their decision. I've seen enough to believe in you. But what if they don't believe in you? Then we both die. Zarnik said simply. Just then, a loud thud came from the backyard. Both of them froze. Another thud. Closer. John moved to the window and peeked through the curtain. His breath caught. A drone was hovering just outside, black, smooth, silent, with a glowing red light scanning the ground. It had no wings, no propeller. It floated like it was alive. Zarnik whispered. That's not human tech. That's theirs. John pulled away from the window. How long do we have? Not long. If it scans this house, the field will break. John looked at the cube still glowing on the table. Can we send a message? Zarnik nodded slowly. Yes. What if I do? They'll know where I am. They might attack. And if you don't, they'll attack anyway. The lights flickered again. Outside, the drone began to rise higher, circling. John looked at Zarnik. Then do it. Send the message. Zarnik touched the cube. A soft hum filled the room. The blue light turned red. Message sent. He whispered, now we wait. The cube began to spin slowly. Outside, the drone turned and flew away. John let out a breath. Is that a good sign? Zarnik shook his head. No, it means they heard us. John sat back down on the couch. His hands were shaking. His life had gone from chicken legs to alien war in less than a day. Zarnik, he said softly, what happens if they come for you? Zarnik looked at him, eyes serious. Then they'll come for you too. We are not alone tonight. Night had fallen quietly over the neighborhood, but inside John's house, nothing felt quiet. The small silver cube on the table was still spinning slowly, glowing with a soft red light. Every few seconds, it beeped, faint, distant, like something waiting for a reply. John sat by the window, eyes scanning the street. It was calm. To calm, the trees were still, no wind, not even a dog barking. Zarnik stood near the door, unmoving, his long fingers resting against the wall. His wrist device flashed with blue patterns, faster now. He was tracking something, watching something. They haven't responded. John whispered. ZARNOK didn't turn. They're watching. They always watch before they strike. John's voice was low. You're sure they'll attack? Zarnik nodded. They don't believe in warnings. They believe in control. If they think I'm trying to warn you, They will silence me, and anyone who helps me. John looked back at the red cube. Then we should run. Zarnik finally turned to face him. You can't run from the sky. John's stomach twisted. The air felt heavier now, like the pressure before a storm. Suddenly, Zarnik's wrist beeped, loud, sharp, then near. He said, very near. John grabbed his keys. We're leaving now. They ran out the back door, keeping low, moving through the neighbor's garden. John's car was parked blocks away just in case. They stayed in the shadows, quiet, alert. Above them, the sky was cloudless, but no stars could be seen. They reached the car. John unlocked it and jumped in. Zarnik climbed into the passenger seat. The alien looked out the window, tense, scanning the sky. John started the engine. Where do we go? Anywhere they can't scan us. Deep forest, metal buildings, underground places. They use heat and sound to track life. John nodded and drove fast, heading toward the old industrial zone outside town. As they passed the last streetlight, something flickered in the rearview mirror. John looked closer. Behind them, floating above the road, was a dark shape, silent, no lights. But it was moving. They found us. John said, "ZARNOK." Looked back. No, someone found us. But that's not them. What do you mean? That's human tech. John's hands tightened on the wheel. You mean the government? Zarnik didn't answer. He just stared at the flying object behind them. The car sped through the city's edge and into the forest road. John turned off the headlights and drove by moonlight. They reached an abandoned warehouse, rusty, half collapsed, but strong. The walls were thick steel. Inside, it smelled like oil and dust. Rats scurried in the corners. ZARNOK placed another small device on the floor. It glowed green this time. This will hide us for now. John sat down on a pile of old crates, trying to breathe normally. Zarnik stood in the center of the room, listening to something only he could hear. After a few minutes, he said, "They're not alone. The humans are involved too. Someone told them I was here." John frowned. The government. Zarnik shook his head. Not your leaders. Not your people. A group. They've known about aliens for decades, and now they want me. John felt cold. Why? Zarnik looked straight at him. Because I have something they want. He opened a compartment on his chest. Inside, under a layer of silver armor, was a small glowing stone. It pulsed softly, blue and green. Alive. What is that? A mind seed. It holds the memory of every peaceful world in our system. Culture, science, energy. If used right, it can help your planet grow 10 times faster. Fix hunger, cure disease, end wars. John stared in shock. You've had this the whole time. Zarnik nodded. I was going to return it. But when I saw your world, I thought maybe you deserved it more than they did. John stood. Then we can use it. Share it. Give it to the world. Double quotes. ZARNOK shook his head. That's not how it works. It must choose. And once it bonds, it cannot be stolen. But if they take me, they'll break me until it unlocks. A sound echoed outside. Boots. Many. John ran to the broken wall and peeked outside. Black vans. No markings. Armed men in body armor. Silent radios. They weren't police. They weren't army. ZARNOK walked over and touched John's arm. You have to choose now. Give me to them, and they might let you live. Protect me, and you become a target too. John's eyes didn't leave the approaching soldiers. I'm already a target, he said. Let's make it worth it. Zarnik smiled softly. Thank you. A voice called from outside. Deep, cold. We know you're in there. Hand over the subject. Now. John picked up a metal pipe. Zarnik powered up his wrist, forming a small energy shield. The door creaked. The light flickered. Outside. The men surrounded the building. Inside. Talal stood between the world and a coming war. Astor's capture red silence broke all at once. The warehouse doors exploded inward with a deafening blast. Smoke filled the air. Shadows moved fast. Silent figures in black armor with glowing visors. Rifles raised. Their footsteps echoed like thunder. John grabbed Zarnik's arm and pulled him behind a crate. Don't fire unless they do, John whispered, heart pounding. ZARNOK nodded. He activated his shield, just a weak blue dome around his body. I can't hurt them, he said. I won't. But the men weren't waiting. Flashlights swept the room. Lasers danced on the walls. Boots stomped forward. They surrounded the hiding spot in seconds. A deep voice shouted through a speaker. Step out with your hands raised. The alien must be handed over. If you don't comply, we will treat this as an act of aggression. John stood slowly, hands up. Zarnik rose behind him, hands glowing faintly from the shadows. One of the soldiers stepped forward and removed his helmet. A tall man, pale skin, sharp eyes, suit under the armor. No military badge, no name. You must be John, the man said, smiling coldly. You must be the reason our satellites went dark last night. John said nothing. The man turned to Zarnik. You've caused quite a stir. Zarnik didn't reply. The man continued. You've stolen something that doesn't belong to you. John stepped forward. He didn't steal anything. He saved it. The man raised an eyebrow. Is that what he told you? Let me guess, he's peaceful. He just wants to help. He loves music and flowers and kindness. John looked confused. He's telling the truth. The man laughed quietly. There's no truth in aliens. Only strategy. We've dealt with your kind before. Zarnik spoke calmly. I came alone. I escaped because I saw hope in humans. I didn't come to harm. The man's smile vanished. You came with technology we've been tracking for years. Your crash site lit up every sensor we have. And now you're playing the innocent guest? He stepped forward, his voice sharper now. Do you even know where you are, John? John looked around. An old warehouse. The man smiled again, colder this time. No, this is one of ours. This building is wired, soundproof, off-grid, built to trap things like him. Zarnik's eyes widened. You led us here. John felt sick. How did you know we'd come here? The man tapped his wrist. You weren't the only one tracking him. Your internet, your car GPS, even your phone when you sent that photo of the chicken leg to your friend. Yeah, we were already watching. John stared at him. Who are you? The man leaned close. We're the people who stop the world from falling apart. And sometimes that means locking up aliens before they break it. He snapped his fingers. Gas hissed from the vents, thick and white. John coughed, stumbled. Zarnik fell to one knee. Shield flickering. No, John shouted, trying to cover Zarnik's face. But it was too late. Everything went black. John woke up in a cold metal room. Fluorescent lights buzzed above. No windows, no clock, just silence. His head ached. His wrists were cuffed to the chair. The door opened. The man from the warehouse walked in, now in a clean black suit, holding a tablet. You'll be happy to know your friend is alive, he said. But he's not talking. John stayed quiet. The man placed the tablet on the table. A video played. Zarnik in a glass chamber, unconscious, wires connected to his arms. The cube the mind seed was floating beside him, locked in a machine. We're going to study it, the man said, safely, away from the public. You're torturing him, John said. He's not human. He doesn't feel pain the way we do. It's research. John leaned forward. He trusted me. And you're tearing him apart. The man looked amused. So what? You bonded over a chicken leg? Don't be naive. This is bigger than you, bigger than him. If that technology falls into the wrong hands, the whole world burns. John shook his head. But if it falls into the right hands, the man leaned in. There are no right hands, John, just ours. He stood up and walked to the door. Think carefully, he said. You could help us. We need his trust, and you have it. Make him talk, or this gets worse. The door closed. In the chamber. Zarnik opened his eyes. Barely. His body ached. Lights burned above. Machines beeped. He turned his head slightly. Behind the glass, he saw John. But John wasn't smiling. John was watching, silent, trapped. And behind him, the man watched them both. A game had begun, but no one knew the rules yet. The choicest room was too bright. John sat in silence, staring through the glass at Zarnik's chamber. Every few seconds, the alien's body twitched from another scan. Wires fed into his arms, his chest, even his head. The one soft blue light of the mind seed now flickered violently inside its cage. He had seen enough. A voice behind him spoke, smooth, calculated. You look tired, John. It was the man in the black suit again. He walked in holding a small cup of coffee and a folder. John didn't answer. You know what this is? The man asked, dropping the folder on the table. John didn't open it. It's you, the man continued. Your file, where you went to school, your emails, your text messages, your favorite pizza place, your jokes on the internet. Olive. It. John's jaw tightened. We've been watching you ever since you touched that alien, the man said, sitting across from him. But here's the part I don't get. You're not special. You're not military. You're not a scientist. You're just a guy grilling chicken in his backyard. I'm a guy who didn't hand over someone who trusted him, John said coldly. The man leaned forward, lowering his voice. Trust won't stop what's coming. Zarnik's species sent him here as bait. They wanted to see how we treat him. He's a test. John shook his head. He ran away from them, maybe, the man said. Or maybe that's the test to see how fast we cage him, or kill him. John narrowed his eyes. So now you're afraid? The man paused. I'm cautious. He tapped the table. The wall beside them lit up. A satellite image appeared, something massive above the clouds. Faint, blurry, but real. We've been watching this, the man said. A ship, bigger than any we've seen. It appeared to hours after you activated that cube. John stood up. They're coming for him, maybe, the man replied. Maybe they're coming for all of us. He turned toward John. You want to save your alien friend? Fine. Convince him to talk. Tell him to open the seed. Share the data. We'll use it to prepare, maybe even make peace. But if he keeps resisting, he tapped his wrist. He dies. And you get to watch. Hours passed. John sat alone again. Outside the chamber, Zarnik was awake now barely. His head hung low, body weak, but his eyes met John's. There was no anger in them, just disappointment and pain. A soldier opened the door. He's ready. For you. John entered the chamber slowly, thick glass sealed behind him. Silenced. Zarnik looked up. Did you come to say goodbye? John's chest hurt. No, I came to ask you something. Zarnik smiled sadly. They want the seed. John nodded. Double quotes, and if I refuse? John didn't answer. Zarnik turned his head. You know what will happen. I know, John said quietly. But I also know, if they use your technology, they'll twist it. Use it for weapons. Control. Yes. Zarnik whispered. And you know what else, John? You're the only one who could stop them. John looked at him. How? Zarnik. Lean closer. The seed needs a second mind. A willing human. Someone who's seen the good and the bad. Someone it can bond with. John stepped back. Me. Zarnik nodded. You. But it will come with a cost. What kind of cost? Zarnik's voice became distant. Your mind will be shared. Your thoughts won't be yours alone. And if they kill me, the seed will die with you. John stared at the glowing object behind the glass. It pulsed, as if listening. Can it stop the war? He asked. Maybe. Zarnik said. If you use it right. Outside. Alarms began to flash. Red. An officer's voice came over the speaker. Security breach. Incoming contact. All staff report to defense stations. Zarnik's eyes widened. They're here. Your people? John asked. Zarnik shook his head. No. Yours. Explosions rocked the building. The floor trembled. John and Zarnik turned toward the wall. A new team was entering, different uniforms, different weapons. Rebels. Hackers. Insiders. Humans. They weren't there to capture Zarnik. They were there to steal him. A loud voice echoed through the base. This is Operation Lantern. Step away. From the asset, bullets flew. Lights died. Chaos exploded in every hallway. The chamber lock flickered. Shut down. John looked at Zarnik. We have to move. Zarnik reached for him. Take the seed. What? Take it. Bond with it. It's the only way we both survive. John hesitated. Zarnik placed the glowing seed in his hand. It was warm, pulsing, almost alive. You must choose. Zarnik said, trust your kind, or trust your soul. John looked into the seed. His memories flashed. His backyard. The chicken leg, the alien begging not to be eaten. The fear, the friendship, the hope. And then he closed his eyes. And chose Astra's first contact war. Everything was shaking. Lights burst from the ceiling. Sparks rained like fireflies. Gunfire echoed. In the lower levels, alarms screamed across the hidden base. John stood frozen in the middle of the chaos. The mind seed glowing in his hands brighter than ever before. It pulsed with energy, like it was breathing, thinking, or waiting. Zarnik grabbed his shoulder. You have only seconds. It must accept you now, or all is lost. How does it work? John asked, his voice barely audible over the alarms. Don't think. Feel. Show it who you are. Before John could respond, the door to the chamber burst open. Rebels flooded in, humans in mismatched gear, helmets, makeshift armor, holding alien-modified rifles. Behind them, more shadows appeared, some familiar, others strange. Get the seed, someone shouted. Don't let them bond, a soldier. Fire. ZARNOK jumped between the blast, and John. The laser burned through his shoulder. John screamed, catching Zarnik before he fell. No, Zarnik gasped, his hand gripping John's tightly. It must choose, and then the seed pulsed white. John's vision exploded. He was no longer in the room. No rebels, no guns, no alarms. He floated in a sea of light, colorful, endless, alive. Shapes moved around him, made of energy and memory. He saw images, fast, clear, powerful. A child crying under warplanes. A mother giving her last food to her son. A man playing a violin in a burned city. He saw his own face, angry, scared, smiling, laughing, lonely. Then he saw Zarnik's world, a place of towers and silver clouds, of minds connected by peace. Then fire, destruction, alien soldiers in armor, cold, logical, ruthless. Then silence. A voice, gentle but not human, spoke inside his head. Are you the bridge or the blade? John didn't understand. I don't know. Do you want to save your world or control it? He whispered. I just wanted to have a chance. The light paused. Then pulsed. Accepted. Back in reality. John collapsed to the ground, gasping. The mind seed floated above him, now connected to his chest by a thread of light. It spun slowly, scanning, glowing. Every screen in the base flickered to life. Not just this base. Every screen on Earth. Phones. Computers. Satellites. One voice, calm and steady, echoed worldwide. We are watching. The bridge has awakened. Do not act in fear. In orbit, above the clouds, a ship uncloaked. Massive, silent, ancient. It had no weapons visible, yet the air around it bent and shook. World governments panicked. Fighter jets launched. Nukes were prepped. War satellites locked targets. Earth stood on a hair trigger, deep in the base. The man in the black suit slammed his fist against the table. He bonded with it. He growled. He bonded with the goddamn seed. A woman in a lab coat beside him looked terrified. We can't stop it now. Not without killing him. Then maybe we should, the man said. But a voice cut through the room. Zarnik, limping through the smoke, still alive. You do that, he said, coughing, and you'll burn your planet in one night. The man drew his gun. John stepped between them, the seed hovering behind him like a silent guardian. You don't control this anymore, John said. And if you try to pull the trigger, the whole galaxy will see what kind of species you really are. Zarnik's eyes widened. They're watching. John nodded. All of them. The man's hand shook. For the first time, he looked afraid. Miles above the Earth, the alien ship projected a hologram in orbit. Thousands of alien races tuned in. A signal was broadcast. A human has touched the seed. He is chosen. Judgment will be paused. Earth will be watched, tested, guided. Zarnik whispered. They've given you a window. Not peace, not war, but a trial. John looked up at the sky. How long? Zarnik smiled faintly. Depends on what you do next. Later that night, back in the forest where it all began, John and Zarnik stood under the stars. A new sky, a new story. Zarnik looked at the fireflies blinking across the grass. They remind me of home. John smiled. You've got one here now. Zarnik turned to him. Are you ready for what comes next? John didn't answer immediately. He looked at the glowing seed, now dim, resting against his chest like a heartbeat. He took a deep breath. I will be. The message of the chicken-led world had changed. Not with fire, not with war. But with silence. It had been 3 days since the seed awakened and the alien ship revealed itself in Earth's orbit. Cities across the globe fell quiet. Governments froze. Armies waited. Everyone was watching the sky. But the aliens didn't speak. They didn't fire. They didn't land. They just waited. John stood in front of a camera broadcast live to the entire world. Behind him was a simple gray wall, with a symbol pulsing softly, the icon of the mind seed, now globally recognized. He wasn't wearing a suit. He wasn't reading from a script. Just a man in a plain shirt. His voice, when he began to speak, was calm, steady, human. 3 days ago, I was eating chicken in my backyard. Not even fancy chicken, Just leftovers, somewhere. Millions chuckled nervously that I met someone, not human, not from Earth. He was watching me eat, scared, alone, and the first thing he said was, "Please don't eat me too." People around the world leaned forward. John smiled faintly. I didn't understand what he meant at first, but then it hit me. He thought, humans eat everything, including things that talk. A murmur ran through the global audience. He was afraid of me, of us, because of what his people had seen. War, destruction, greed, and they were ready to wipe us out before we became a threat. John paused, but he stayed. He watched more, and he found something we sometimes forget ourselves. He saw kindness, jokes, art, music, people helping people for no reason at all. He saw something worth saving. John turned, gesturing toward a screen now showing Zarnik, sitting peacefully beside a campfire in the forest, and I saw something too. I saw that trust doesn't come from power. It comes from choice, from giving someone a seat at your table. Instead of a cage, he reached into his pocket, pulled out something simple, a cold, half-eaten chicken leg. People watching were confused. Then he said, This dumb little chicken leg stopped a war. Everyone leaned in, because it wasn't just food, it was sharing, a moment of peace. One creature offering another creature something without asking for anything in return. He looked into the camera. If we can do that with one alien, why not with each other? Why not with our own people, our own planet? The feed glitched for a second, and then a reply came. Not from Earth, from the ship above, a voice. Clear and ancient, filled every screen, every phone, every speaker. We have heard the message. The bridge is active. The test continues. Judgment is postponed. Humanity will be observed not as a threat, but as a question. Prove your answer. The feed ended. The sky remained silent. But the war never came. Weeks later, John and Zarnik walked through a busy park. Kids played. People laughed. Nothing exploded. Life was trying to be normal again. You became a symbol, Zarnik said, eating ice cream awkwardly. I didn't mean to. John replied, What will you do now? John looked around. People were more connected, more cautious, but also more hopeful. Keep telling the story. Zarnik raised an eyebrow. The story about war, politics, alien tech, and global diplomacy? John smiled. No, the story about how a scared alien begged me not to eat him. Zarnik chuckled. You know that still hurts my feelings. John laughed. Yeah, but it saved the planet. So, thank the chicken. They sat on a bench, quiet, peaceful, and somewhere above the clouds, a ship still watched. But for the first time, it didn't feel like a threat, it felt like someone listening.